Your toddler is mid-hug with you, and the moment Dad walks into the room, they peel off you like you were never there. They run to him. They reach for him. Sometimes they even push you away to get to him, and you smile because you have to, but underneath it, something quietly cracks. Maybe it's the opposite in your house. Maybe your toddler melts down the moment you try to leave for work, but barely notices when Dad walks out the door. Either way, there's a question sitting under all of it that almost nobody says out loud. Does my toddler love the other parent more than me? I want to answer that clearly, right at the start. No, that is almost never what is happening. What's actually happening inside your toddler's brain is stranger, more calculated, and honestly, more beautiful than who they love more. And once you understand it, you will never watch your toddler run to the other parent the same way again. Let's start with what toddlers are actually doing between the ages of 1 and 3, because this is the part parenting articles skip. Somewhere around 18 months, your toddler enters what developmental psychologists call the separation-individuation phase. In plain terms, your toddler has just discovered they are a separate person from you. That discovery is thrilling and terrifying at the same time. And to manage that fear, their brain does something clever. It sorts every adult in their life into a job description. Attachment researchers going back to Mary Ainsworth found that children build what they call a hierarchy of caregivers. Not a ranking of who is loved most, a hierarchy of who does what best. And here's the detail almost no parent has ever heard. Researchers studying father-child bonds discovered something called the activation relationship. It's a term coined by psychologist Daniel Paquette. Mothers in most households tend to become what your toddler experiences as the home base, the place that calms the storm. Fathers in most households tend to become the activation figure, the one who opens the door to the world, stirs up energy, invites risk. Neither role is better. They are simply different jobs, and your toddler, without a single word of language needed, has already figured out who does which one. So when your toddler runs to Dad the moment he walks in, you are not watching a preference for love. You are watching a toddler switching functions. They are moving from regulation mode into exploration mode. Dad, statistically, is more likely to be the one who chases them around the living room, flips them upside down, invents a game with no rules in the first 10 seconds. That kind of play lights up a completely different part of a toddler's nervous system than comfort does. It's not affection they're chasing in that moment, it's adrenaline, and their body already knows exactly who supplies it. Quick pause here, because this next part is the piece that actually explains the mom side of this equation, and it might be the most important thing in this whole video. If you're finding this useful already, hit subscribe now, because what I'm about to explain is the part almost no parenting channel will tell you, and it changes everything about how you see the moments you feel left out. Here's the twist researchers rarely explain simply. In most homes, toddlers save their absolute worst behavior, the meltdowns, the whining, the falling apart over a broken cracker, for one specific parent. And it is almost always the parent they feel safest with. Child psychologists have observed this pattern for decades, and the explanation comes straight from attachment theory itself. A toddler spends most of their day holding it together, adjusting, managing themselves around teachers, grandparents, strangers at the store. Every one of those environments asks something of them, but the parent who represents total, unconditional safety is the one place a toddler's nervous system feels safe enough to stop holding anything together at all. So the performance drops, all of it, at once, usually on you. So if you're the parent who gets the tantrums, the clinginess, the refusal to let anyone else help with bath time, I need you to hear this clearly. That is not rejection. That is the highest compliment a toddler's nervous system can give. You are the person they trust enough to fall apart in front of. Think about it from the other direction for a moment. Toddlers do not collapse in front of strangers. They do not have meltdowns with people who feel unpredictable or unsafe. They save the collapse for the one person whose love they have never once had to question. Dad might get the laughter. You might be getting the trust. Those are two entirely different currencies, and one is not worth more than the other. Now, here's the part that ties the whole thing together, because preference in toddlers is not fixed. It rotates, and it rotates fast. Researchers who study attachment in early childhood have found that a toddler's preference in any given moment depends less on which parent they love more and more on which relationship feels most secure for that specific context in that specific moment. That means the toddler who reaches for dad at the park might reach only for mom at 2 in the morning. The toddler who wants only mom for bedtime might spend the entire Saturday glued to dad. What looks like a fixed favorite is usually a moving target responding to context, energy, and need. Researchers who study this describe it as fluid, not permanent. It shifts with developmental leaps, with new fears, with new skills your toddler is trying to master. The child testing new independence one week is often the same child regressing into total attachment the next. This is normal, and it is not a sign that anything is broken between you and your toddler. It is simply a young nervous system trying on different versions of itself before it settles into anything stable. Think of it less like a scoreboard and more like a weather pattern. It shifts by the hour. It shifts by the situation. And chasing it, trying to permanently win the preference, is a losing game by design. Because the game itself was never meant to be won. It was meant to be outgrown. So what do you actually do with this if you're the parent who feels like you're losing? 3 things, and none of them involve trying harder to be chosen. First, let your toddler be chosen without competing for it. When your toddler runs to the other parent, resist the urge to insert yourself or prove you can also be fun, also be silly, also be the favorite in that moment. A toddler who watches 2 parents share a room without tension learns something enormous. They learn that love in this house is not a competition with a limited supply. That lesson regulates them more than anything you could say. Second, build a ritual that belongs only to you, not necessarily the one the other parent already owns. Researchers studying parent-child bonding consistently find that toddlers build preference through repetition, not through big gestures. It doesn't need to be bedtime or bath time. It can be the 5 minutes after nap where you lie on the floor together. It can be the walk to the mailbox. Toddlers build trust in tiny, repeated, unspectacular moments, not in the one big effort you make on a hard day. Third, and this is the one most parents never think to do, let your toddler see your face light up when they choose you, even in the small ways, even when it's just handing you a rock they found in the yard. The parent whose face visibly delights in a toddler's presence becomes, over time, the parent a toddler's nervous system associates with the feeling of being loved, not the parent who tries hardest, the parent who is most genuinely glad to see them. And here's what I want you to carry out of this video. The phase where your toddler seems to pick sides will end, and it will be replaced by another phase, and then another, because toddlers are not choosing a favorite parent for life. They are running a constantly updating survey of who meets which need best in that exact moment. The toddler clinging to dad at the playground today may be the same child who will only accept comfort from you tomorrow when they scrape their knee. You are not in a competition you can lose. You are in a relationship that is being built one small, ordinary, unglamorous moment at a time. And those are the moments your toddler will never be able to explain, but will never forget either. If this changed how you see the moments your toddler runs to someone else, subscribe now, because every week we break down what's actually happening inside your toddler's mind, backed by real research, explained in a way that finally makes sense. And if this helped you feel a little less unchosen today, send it to the other parent in your house who needs to hear it too.